help you all come up with a symbol for joy, which is what this is all about. And the other is to share some of our experience in Puerto Rico. So there's 3 blocks on the top of what you were handed out, and the bottom is actually my outline for after this. So, and there's a resource at the end you can get to. But so first, go to the first page, and it's got 3 boxes. And what I'd like you to do very briefly is draw either a word or a symbol, whatever comes to mind for you, of what joyful memory or joy or whatever triggers in your brain. As a child, what do you remember as joy? As an adult in your normal daily life, what brings you joy? And during this Christmas season, what's your symbol of joy? And I'm going to share my 3 with you. You're welcome to, at some point, share it with your significant other or someone at coffee hour or whatever, but I'm not going to ask you to share anything. I'm just going to do what I came up with. So you got exactly 1 minute, and pass them the timekeeper. So a word or a symbol of those 3 parts of your life. No, all 3. All 3.
And you have 15 seconds.
And I've got mine done, but I have time to think about it. Anybody direly not done yet? So, my first one, which I'm sure you can't see back there, is it's a stick figure of a dog. Because probably my best memories as a child, because my parents raised beagles. So every spring I got to play with puppies, beagle puppies. And the treat was my brother and I, my brother's 2 years younger, there was an exercise pen in the dog kennel that my mother ran. And you take all the puppies and put them in the exercise pen. So you might have 15 or 20 puppies, this big. And you lay down and let them climb all over you. All right. So, daily life, my symbol is a claw hammer, which is fascinating because it comes up with 2 things. One, I've always loved to build stuff, and my family has put up with that for 30 plus years. But for many, many years, up until last year, I ran a small company, and joy for me was finding 5 other people work and trying to keep them employed. So fascinating to think about, it was a burden, but it was a joy at the same time. And the third one is the star. That's my symbol of joy for the Christmas season. By the way, if you got a white crayon, it probably didn't work very well. There are white crayons in there. You know how I found how did I find the crayons?
Oh, Mary Ann.
Crawling around with Mary Ann. I didn't even know we had crayons. All right. So, the text that I focused on in trying to put this together was Philippians 4:4-7. And what I got out of reading that text was, get rid of your anxiety. Focus on asking God for strength when you need it, help when you need it, and that the peace of God can be amazing. And I actually looked up joy in Webster's also, and as it says before you flip this over, joy is a delight delight or bliss or rejoicing a feeling, a state of mind, a mode of operation? There are times when I actually think Christ frees me to be in a mode of operation of joy. Some of my best friends at the moment know that that's a juxtaposition at the moment, because I got a 17-year-old dog who's, peed 4 times on the kitchen floor last night, and at some point there's not joy there. There's sorrow. So, I would argue that being joyful is a challenge in today's world. But maybe it's always been a challenge in the world. And that's what the miracle of Jesus is all about. So I want you to use your imagination. I'm used to being in front of people with a set of slides. But I didn't do that this morning because I also wanted to challenge myself. So I want you to close your eyes and think for a minute. And I want you to think of the loudest noise you have ever experienced. Maybe it's a fighter jet taking off. Maybe it's a dragster about to do 180 miles an hour in 5 seconds. Maybe it's a hurricane descending over your home. And for 10 hours, all you hear is the roar. And for some people, the roof left. For other people, the doors and windows left. Because the gentleman that Lily and I met at the 400-year-old fort in San Juan said that the hurricane was far worse than they had planned for. For 10 hours, they had winds over 100 miles per hour and 25 inches of rain. Beyond my imagination for here, if we had that, my house would be gone. The pine trees that are 50 feet high around it would be gone. All of our utility poles and wiring would be down. And that's what happened there in parts of Puerto Rico. Hard to imagine that much destruction, but it's what's reported to have happened. The Fuller Center for Housing did not have a covenant partner in Puerto Rico. They had focused in many other parts of the globe. So after this disaster, when the immediate relief was done for trying to keep people and ended up passing away from the event, they established what's called a covenant partner that works under their 503c or whatever the number is, charity group. And Lily and I chose to go to Puerto Rico this year with them to try to experience that area firsthand on our own. We had heard various stories, and I tend to like to be factual about life. So we signed up for the trip that happened in November. We had lots of young folks with us, lots of 20, 30-somethings. My son came up with some better words. If you go to Spinning Petals for Homes, which is my Facebook page for the Fuller Center fundraising, there's a great description of Puerto Rico. My son actually got it posted last night with some web pages you can click on for photos and stuff. It was fascinating for me to be in Puerto Rico because the other places I've done build projects were Haiti. Puerto Rico is a very different experience than Haiti. In Haiti, you would probably have an armed guard on the construction site every night. And there would be people coming by to see if they could get something to eat from you because they didn't have anything to eat. In Puerto Rico, we were fed very well, breakfast, some idea of the level of destruction in the area that you could walk to any place to do work. Puerto Rico, as you may know, is a territory. It's not a state, so it has very little representation in our government. Probably a great person you could, and this is in the notes you can look up later, Jose Santos, .5424 is on Facebook. He has a great webpage. Jose's from Nicaragua. He's working for the Fuller Center in Puerto Rico because they shut down Nicaragua because of the violence there. His description of what's going on in Nicaragua right now is scary. He has a 6-month visa to work in Puerto Rico, and potentially that can be extended so that it can continue. He did a great job of coordinating all of our efforts with. On the first day, we split up, went to 3 different building sites in walking distance. The tools showed up, sometimes in wheelbarrows by people. We were doing productive work within an hour of the first day on site. That's not always the way volunteer stuff works. So within an hour, you got to volunteer, and it was like scrape paint. You got something else I can do? Swing a sledgehammer. Yeah! But what are we going to be swinging a sledgehammer for? It turns out most of the homes in Puerto Rico are made out of concrete, even most of them with rebar, which is unlike Haiti. So even though they don't have hurricanes, when they have 100-mile-an-hour winds, the stuff stays there. So most of the homes that were concrete walls had roofs that left. Or the roof was concrete, or the roof was 80-year-old concrete falling apart, and after 25 inches of rain, everything in the house was soaked and head to the dump anyways. So the house that I got to work on for 4 days, we're going to bust down that roof that's 4 inches thick of concrete with rebar that's all rusting and falling apart. Well, how are we going to do that? Well, there's a ladder, and there's a 12-pound sledge, and there's a 10-pound sledge, and there's 6 of you. And Jose got up on the roof with the sledge and picked a part near the edge that was the thinnest, and with this 12-pound sledge starts whacking away on the roof, and all of a sudden he's got a hole. And it was only a hole about, 8 inches in diameter. And then he grabbed one of us and said, this is how you do it. So 6 of us took turns for a day and a half demoing a concrete roof manually. No jackhammers. Interesting experience. I left until like noon and then went back to the place and sat around for an hour and got some strength back and lunch. And then I learned to pace myself a little bit. Because after every 6 people, you get a turn to swing the sledge again. I wondered if we'd ever see the house start to go back together. By the way, there's a woman and her kids living in the other half of the house that the roof had been replaced some years earlier while we're up there banging away with sledgehammers. It did rain most days, but like at 80 degrees in a t-shirt working, you're already hot and gooey. The rain was, when it was raining real hard, we'd find some place to stand. Actually put up one of those, the things you see at events around here with the 4 legs you have to anchor down so the wind doesn't blow them away. But we actually got some concrete blocks and anchored it down so that the wind didn't take it off the roof, and the rain showers would come through like every 2 hours. And I had a great time working on that house, but let me tell you about the other 2 houses, and maybe we can get Lily to say something also. The other 2 houses had, the roof had, one of the houses, the roof had left. The woman and her 2 children left and went to live with someone in the States while they arranged with the Fuller Center to do work to put the house back together. And when you wet concrete walls that have paint on them, it like comes off in sheets. Because once the roof leaves, everything's wet. The belongings had all been trashed because everything ability to dry it out. The third house, a gentleman by the name of Benjamin was still living there. He was 70 years old. You spend a lot of time in both of those houses?
I spent some time in both of them, yeah.
And what were you doing?
Scraping paint.
And what
And
kind?
painting.
And painting. So, like, how many hours did you scrape paint?
Gosh. Probably about 30, 40 hours scraping paint.
And it came off either in sheets or in little pieces about this big?
Yeah, you got the big sheets first, and that was wonderful, and then the rest of it was scraping in little pieces. And you were happy for little pieces.
And you got to meet Benjamin,
Yeah.
and they fixed the roof in his kitchen, but they painted it too soon, and the concrete didn't.
Yeah, the ceiling started peeling again.
So you got to do that a second time. Right?
Yeah, I did the walls, I didn't do ceiling.
So, in the Fuller Center programs, whatever, we're volunteer labor, whatever is paid for materials or like an electrician or whatever, ultimately that work gets paid back to the covenant partner by the owner with no interest on a time schedule they can agree to. So in the volunteer work I did in Idaho, the Fuller Center actually held a mortgage on the mobile home they had replaced when the bear fell through the roof that was eating cherries off the tree. That's in one of my write-ups from this summer. If you go to Spinning Pedals Homes, a black bear fell through the roof eating cherries off the tree. So I already mentioned this is very different than Haiti. In both places, serving has been a blessing. Great to spend time with my wife doing something for 24/7. In Puerto Rico, we actually got to stay in the same room, which was like, I expected, women's dorm, guys dorm, but we actually had, of course the room had no door on it. Lily, do you want to add any more comments? Okay. So the bottom of this sheet has if you want photos, there's like 150 photos posted of our trip if you want to look at pictures of people, and that's the website you click on. And if you're on Facebook, Spinning Pedals for Homes remains my Facebook page, and the Puerto Rico stuff is updated. And for those of you that haven't read that yet, you'll learn that I signed up for 2,000 miles next summer instead of 4,000. I agreed to come home for the month of July to spend with my family and grandkids playing instead of...
Yeah.
Being home for only 48 hours last August was not a good plan.
He is smiling.
Am I out of time? So in closing, I actually let's go back to line, pull out your Kyrie, how do you say it? Kyrie eleison, which I understand is Lord have mercy on us. And let's read line 3. It's very appropriate for joy. So why don't we read it together? Forgive us, Lord, for times when joy was lost, and moments when we never